I think you come here at a pivotal moment in our history. I've just come back from a historic visit to Washington with President Trump. I can categorically say that I don't think there was any more consequential meeting of a prime minister and a president than this meeting, because we are reshaping the Middle East.
Right after 9/11, about 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who had used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you."
I'm sorry, what did you say his name was?
I'm not going to give you his name.
So go through the countries again?
Well, starting with Iraq, then Syria and Lebanon, then Libya, then Somalia and Sudan, and then back to Iran.
Let's rewind to 1996, when a group of US neoconservatives, many of whom would later serve in the Bush administration, wrote a little policy guide for Netanyahu's new government. Its title, A Clean Break, a new strategy for securing the realm. This wasn't just a policy memo. It was a guide on how to take over the Middle East, with Israel as the dominant force, and everyone else preferably weakened, divided, and subservient to the US-Israeli realm. The Clean Break strategy had a few key takeaways. The first regarded Palestinians and gave them no land and no state whatsoever. And judging by the ongoing genocide in Gaza and the complete siege of the already occupied West Bank today, things seems to be going according to the paper's plans. The second strategy was for Israel to grow so powerful that the world can stand up to it. The goal was to make Israel immune to international pressure. So whether Israel is committing war crimes, building illegal settlements, or flattening neighborhoods in other countries, it doesn't matter. Israel is above the law. And while world leaders might condemn Israel's actions, no one will or can actually stop them. The third was destabilizing and weakening Israel's enemies, meaning pretty much all its neighbors. The plan specifically named Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, all seen as obstacles to Israeli regional dominance and therefore direct Israeli targets.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region.
Mr. Netanyahu has long wanted to fight Iran because that way he can stay in office forever and ever. I mean, he's been there most of the last 20 years.
And we created a new reality. Lebanon is now undergoing a change in the reality. The Syrian proxy of Iran, which formed the continuum from Iran to the Mediterranean, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon. The Assad regime collapsed. It collapsed because not because Assad's army was unable to fight. He wasn't relying on them. He was relying on 15 to 20,000 Hezbollah fighters were not available. There was no one to lead them because Nasrallah was gone. They themselves were mauled by us, so they couldn't save him. Iran wanted to send forces to save him from Iran. We stopped that. We didn't get any flowers from Damascus, I have to say, but it's okay, we can take it. But we changed the Middle East. We changed the Middle East. Now comes President Trump, and Secretary Rubio is a great friend of Israel as well. I've seen him over the years, and we had a great discussion today. And we talked about how do we complete the change in the Middle East. We have the greatest friend of Israel in the White House now. We see eye to eye on the main tasks that we have to accomplish, and we're in a position to change the Middle East and give Israel the kind of horizon, the kind of hope, the kind of security, and the kind of peace that would have been unimaginable, and in fact was unimaginable from the day of the founding of the State of Israel. We've had great victories in the past. The most important one was the Six-Day War. But the possibilities that loom today before us have never been before us before, have never been available to us as they are now. And we intend to pursue them to the full.
So go through the countries again.
Well, starting with Iraq, then Syria and Lebanon, then Libya, then Somalia and Sudan, and then back to Iran.
And we intend to pursue them to the full.